Okay, so let's talk about how do you select the turns ratio in a flyback converter, right? We have already seen the flyback converter. Let's see how do we decide the turns ratio in that flyback converter. So as we saw that the output voltage to input voltage is given by d upon 1 minus d into n2 by n1, right? Now you can, for a given input voltage, you can achieve the desired output voltage either by choosing suitable value of duty cycle or by choosing suitable value of n2 by n1, right? In general, as we saw before, that for a buck boost converter, if duty cycle is close to 0.5, right, it is preferred because it would have better efficiency, right? Your duty cycle of conduction of the switches would be almost half, right? So the stress would be it would not happen that one of the switches only conducting for a very short duration or something like that. So the RMS current in the switches would in general also be low and so on, right? So it's generally preferred to have a duty cycle of 0.5. So yeah, so one thought process can say that, okay, then if you want to keep this as 0.5, then you select n2 by n1 equal to VO by Vin, right, approximately. That is one way. The other thing is there is few other limitations or design constraints which comes on n2 by n1. So that is what, let's have a look at it. Let me draw the boost flyback converter before we go ahead. So this is MOSFET 1, diode 2, and I'm drawing an ideal transformer plus I'm drawing the magnetizing branch LM, right? So as we have seen before, once M1 is on, then D2 is on. So what is the voltage appearing across M1 when M1 is on? It is 0, right? And when M1 is off and D2 is on, in that case, what is the voltage appearing across M1 when D2 is on? Then we understand that E2 would be equal to VO. Sorry, I've put the dot wrong. So this is how the dot convention is, right? So E2 is equal to minus VO, this is E2. And E1, which is on the primary side, is equal to N1 by N2 times of E2, which is equal to minus N1 by N2 times of VO. And what is VM1? VM1 is given by Vin minus E1, right? This is VM1, Vin minus E1. Right? So if I substitute the value of E1 here, I can write this as Vin minus plus N1 by N2 times VO. Right? And what is VO? VO is, in CCM, VO is given by N2 by N1 times D upon 1 minus D. Right? So if you see, N2 N1 would cancel out, and what you would get is Vin plus Vn into D upon 1 minus D. That is the voltage rating of switch M1. So that means your switch should be capable of blocking this much of voltage, at least, right? So VM1 would be 0 and then it would be high, and this would be the value which we have derived. So VM1 should have capacity of blocking so much of voltage. Now this is one point. The other point is that what about diode D2, same thing, right? So for diode D2, so if I say this is VD2, right, when diode is on, it is almost 0. When the diode is off, that means S1 is on. In that case, E1 is given by Vn, right? E2 is given by N2 by N1 times E1, which is Vn, right? And voltage across the diode, I can write KVL in the secondary loop. So I can say 0 plus VO plus VD2 plus E2 is equal to 0, which would give me VD2 is equal to minus VO minus E2. I can write this as minus, I can take common, VO minus N2 by N1 times Vn, right? I can further rewrite this. I can say this is equal to, sorry, this is plus, so minus VO, I can keep VO as it is. I can represent Vin in terms of the duty cycle, or I can do other way. I can keep Vin fixed and I can represent, I can do both ways. In this case, let me represent Vin. So I know VO is equal to N2 by N1 times D upon 1 minus D. So let me substitute for Vin from this equation into this equation. So then I would get this term would become VO upon D into 1 minus D. Right, this is obviously minus because the diode is supposed to block the reverse voltage, right, and not the forward voltage. So the diode voltage would be this value minus, right, which we have derived, and 0. So what it means is that if we want to actually make the circuit, we want a MOSFET which should be able to block this voltage, and we want a diode which should be able to block this particular voltage, right? And our Vin and VO are fixed because let's say our requirement is fixed. So now we need to understand how these things vary with duty cycle. So I can simplify this expression Vm1. I can write it as Vin into 1 upon 1 minus D, and I can write the blocking voltage of VD2 as minus VO into 1 upon D. So you see the blocking voltage of the MOSFET, as we increase the duty cycle, the blocking voltage requirement also increases, right? So increases with duty cycle, but the blocking voltage requirement of the diode decreases with duty cycle. What it implies is that depending on the duty cycle that you would set for a given application, your voltage blocking capabilities, requirement of MOSFET and diode would also change. And therefore, this also becomes a deciding factor. And you cannot always keep duty cycle close to 0.5. Let me take an example to explain the same thing. Let's say I want to design a flyback which can take an input voltage of 325 volt and can generate an output voltage of 12 volt. Right? Why 325? Because that is the peak value of the 230 volt RMS signal. Right? So that in general, if you just put a full bridge rectifier across the standard 230 volt AC, you would get 325. So let's say you want to have a flyback converter which converts from 325 volt DC to 12 volt DC. And now, as you understand, I can choose multiple, I can choose N1, N2 and duty cycle, right? And I can have multiple set of these values which would meet this constraint. And now I want to decide which duty cycle to choose. And once I choose some D, then N2 by N1 gets fixed, or vice versa. If I choose N2 by N1, D gets fixed. As we discussed that we would prefer D to be 0.5, right, in terms of efficiency and other things. So let's say if I choose D as 0.5, then what will be my blocking voltage of the MOSFET? And I'll just write magnitude. And what would be the blocking voltage of diode D2? just write the magnitude value. You can use the above formulas, you can substitute, you can do a quick calculation, see if it comes out to be the same as I have got. You get 650 volt here and 24 volt here. Now if you want to so these are the minimum required voltages. Usually what happens is when the converter operates, right, there are certain spikes in the voltage waveform which might come up during transitions, and therefore you generally add a safety factor of 20-30% or so on, right? So roughly speaking, here you would require about an 800 volt MOSFET device, and you might use about a 30 or 35 volt diode. So 35 volt diode is readily available. There are a lot of options to choose from. 800 volt MOSFET, you might not have many options to choose from. You might be limited in terms of options. So it may so happen that while designing, you may find those MOSFETs to be expensive, or you may find that those MOSFETs are not very high quality. That means that they are not offering a very low RDS on and so on. So you might not end up getting a good efficiency. So what you can do is you can see if you want to, let's say, make your D to be 0.3 nominal, right? If you do that, then this value becomes 465, right? Then you might probably be able to choose a 550 volt or a 600 volt MOSFETs, and your diode voltage would increase slightly, but you can still find a 60 volt diode very easily with a lot of options, right? So maybe in this application you might want to consider setting a nominal duty cycle of 0.3 and then finding N2 by N1 based on that, and then making the transformer design based on that N2 by N1, right? Okay, so this is what I wanted to convey regarding the selection of the nominal duty cycle and the nominal turns ratio. We would talk about now the snubber circuit and the leakage inductances in the next video.